So many people can't understand the methodology. Can you tell us about?
Yeah, it took a long time for me to understand it. Before it was a technology, it was a methodology. So, match fixing is like a David Copperfield trick. Imagine a simple situation. David Copperfield, I say that because, the magic, he's getting you to look here, but the magic's happening here or behind you. And that happens. They teach these players to do little things. And the combination of little things all add up to a big, change in behavior, of the players at that moment. And so the methodology over many years, dating back to 2012 or 13, when this particular PhD, this doctor had developed this, it's to expose all of those moments, to understand what normal behavior looked like and see when there's abnormal behavior that happens. And it's not, somebody has a bad day or they turn their ankle, or this is really measuring, every 90 minutes of thousands of games, understanding what average defenders do and what specific players do. And you understand the normals so well, exactly when they have a deviation. It sticks out like a sore thumb. Now, a deviation by itself isn't a problem if it occurs independent of any other events. But there are, so what a deviation would be. Let's say it would take 100 milliseconds, a fraction of a second, for a defender to stick his leg out and intercept a ball that's going right by him. And he has 450 milliseconds to see the ball coming. Well, what if he doesn't stick out his leg and he turns around and starts running, and by the time the ball passes him, it's only half a meter away from him, and he never tries to stick out his leg? Well, that's pretty odd. Now, that's a deviation. And in a game of 22 players in 90 minutes plus reserves, on average, there are no more than 5 deviations in an entire game. So in the Palmeiras-Sao Paulo game, you look at the Palmeiras players, and Weverton had one deviation. He had a really bad pass, something in like the 26th minute or something. And then Rios had 2 horrible moments, and so bad that you would think, oh my God, that almost looks intentional. But those are called normal free deficiencies because they don't happen in combination with anything else. Then you go to Sao Paulo and you get to the first player, and I can't name the names, and this one player has 8 deviations where it doesn't take him 100 milliseconds to react. It might take him 400 milliseconds to react. And every one of those 8 deviations is in a goal-scoring situation or a potential goal-scoring situation. So mathematically, now you have one player showing the extreme improbability of having 8 deviations when an entire, 2-team roster presentation doesn't have 5. And all of those deviations are happening on abnormal goal-scoring situations. So the statistical probability of that is quite low. Add to that, there was a second player that had 6 deviations on those same plays. So in that particular game, you had 7 or so players that were all having multiple deviations, individual players that were having more deviations than an entire two-team roster would have, and they were all on goal-scoring plays. So that's what the computer vision sees. It's not marking a man, not pressing a man, changing your angle to run away from the angle so you don't catch the player. Slowing down. When you see a guy made a breakaway, normally you would speed up. Well, now you slow down. It's the keeper, instead of going straight out of the ball and cutting off the angle, he steps to the right and exposes the back post and thinks nobody sees him. Then he goes out, and he goes out short, right? These are the tricks of the trade that they've been teaching in match fixing for years, and the methodology matched that craftsmanship and ultimately combined it with computer vision. So now every millisecond is seen. Now, for somebody to say, well, that doesn't really happen. Well, it happens. It happens. That's how match fixing works. And they developed a technology to see it. And it happens in every country. And this is how it works. It is, on the referee side, it's rapid, double yellows because they're not VAR reviewable. Turns into a red. Palmeiras had 11 red cards to their benefit. 7 were double yellows. 4 were in rapid succession. The other 4, which were VAR confirmed, 3 were controversial, right? So what the technology does is shows you all of those deviations and then allows you to then compare that technology to the video where you get to confirm, gee, that guy really did slow down intentionally. Wow, he really did take 2 steps to the right and expose his back post. And when you see it on film, it's like an epiphany. So I showed this to these senators, and they saw a little bit of it, and it's shocking. But this is 100% trial tested in other parts of the world. And this company that people want to minimize and say, oh, all you have are the good game reports, that's like saying, oh, all you have is the killer having pulled the trigger at the moment, standing over the body, and you filmed the whole thing. Like, this is proof in the 21st century. It may not be proof the way we're accustomed to it, but this is proof. And this company's never been wrong, and they've been doing this in court. And with their methodology, people have been getting arrested, and that's come to Brazil.